Welcome to today's lesson where we're going to talk about biostatistics. And in particular, we're going to go through some basic concepts about biostatistics that any resident or medical student and even a fellow can use when they're approaching their research projects. Now, one thing you should know right off the bat, we're not going to spend a lot of time, if any time, on actually calculating different statistical results or what we're going to do, and what's more important is we should talk about basic concepts in biostatistics that you're going to come across when you're developing your research projects or when you're joining the research project of a faculty member. So let's talk about specifically variables, because that's what you're going to be working with the most, especially if you're not a faculty member. You're probably going to be inputting a lot of variables, and you kind of want to know what type of variables there are. And so in statistics, there are two main types of variables: continuous variables and categorical variables. And we're going to explain each of these so that you get an idea of the type of data that you're working with on your research project. Erase that, so let's try that again. There we go. So let's look at continuous variables for a moment. Continuous variables are what you think they'd be. They're going to be numbers, variables that are on a spectrum. So examples of that are age, or height, or particular blood tests. In this case, we'll choose LDL levels, or maybe ESR levels. Any variable that can be described by a number and is on a spectrum. So you know that if you're talking about age, for example, let's pick another color here. You know that a number here is certainly a certain number of units lower than a number here, and a certain number of units lower than the number here. And so that's what characterizes continuous variables. It's not simply that they can be represented by numbers, although they are all represented by numbers, but they have to be placed on a spectrum such that you know how far one data point is from another based on simple arithmetic. So continuous variables are commonly what I've described here, and you can use some common arithmetic measures like the mean. Means common. You can even do things like standard deviation. Any arithmetic or differential equation that requires you to use numbers is what you're going to use for continuous variables. Now you have categorical variables, and categorical variables are a little different. Let me give you some examples. Gender would be one. Here's another one: smoking status. Either you do or don't smoke. Let's try another one. Exercise habits. So categorical variables are those that aren't easily describable by a number, and if they are described by a number, they don't fall on the spectrum that you see up here. So you could have someone who has a gender either male or female, and you can assign male as 0, for example. A male gets a 0 value, and a female gets a 1 value. Now, these are numbers, 0 and 1, but it's not that a male who's a 0 is 1 less than a female, or a female who's a 1 is 1 more than a male, because you can't take these numbers and put it on a scale and do simple arithmetic. So categorical variables are those variables that may have some number designation. Smoking status would be another one. If you smoke, you're a 0. If you didn't smoke, you're a 1. If you used to smoke and not anymore, you're a 2. Well, if you used to smoke, you're not 2 units better than someone who smokes at all. So categorical variables are generally these types of variables, and continuous variables are those that can be put on a spectrum. And so that does it for this lesson of continuous versus categorical variables. Thank you.